Hi, I'm Emily Ewing, joined by the terrifyingly beautiful Carol Hodge for our Halloween minisode special of Ewing and Hodge Chat. Because it is spooky season, we reached out to our musical friends to share any scary stories with us, and here are just a few.
Ooh, can I just say I've never been described as terrifyingly beautiful, so thank you for that.
It's a season. The first story comes from our wonderful friend, music teacher and musician, Adam Chester. He says, the first guitar amp I ever had was a battered Frankenstein, which had been cobbled together by a chap who lived up the road. It was made from a practice amp and an old stereo speaker. One night I decided to push its limits. Alone in my bedroom with the rest of the family out, I cranked it up to 11. It sounded nasty and distorted. Excellent. It withstood the pressure for a few minutes, then a voice through the distortion and static said, "I'm sorry," and then something unintelligible. There was a pop and the amp stopped working. Now, it could well have been, and most probably was, a shortwave radio signal or a late night play on Radio 4, but that didn't stop it being perfectly timed and creepy.
Oh, EVP, electronic voice phenomena. My first story is from our wonderful mutual musical friend, Baz Francis, who I'll be back out on tour with soon. And he says, when I was growing up in the last century now, my family and I lived in a really old Georgian house in Berkshire. My bedroom was up top in an area I once found described in a 100-year-old dusty book on local history in a local shop. And we had a cellar with sealed up tunnels from its former days as an inn. When we moved in, I was 11 at the time, and although I loved the Addams Family atmosphere of the place, I was really scared about the inevitable ghosts that would surely come with the territory as well. Walking down these creaky corridors at night could really give you the heebie-jeebies, but I soon came to learn that the scariest monsters live in our heads or are just simply other people. After I moved out, I went back to visit my mum, and she had guests staying over from out of town. Because of the attached land being quite expansive, some security cameras had been set up. This one night I had swung by to say hello, and the next morning when everyone awoke, the guest's car had disappeared. Everyone panicked and looked back over the CCTV footage, and you could see that after I had left that night, the family dog had been taken out for one last walk around the light out front before bed. Fast forwarding slightly, a strange man then appeared from by the same garden light in the video and proceeded to jack into the car, stealing it no sooner had my parents walked by that spot. All that history, all the stories I heard, and all those bodies buried next door in the little graveyard, yet the scariest story I have from that time and place in my life is one about a human being, or at least something resembling one.
Oh, thank you, Baz. Our next story is from Joe A. Maddox, who is the lead singer of a very awesome band, the Continental Lovers. I was on tour, I think, in 2012 with my old band, the Breakdowns. We were doing 13 dates in Spain, and it was hot and tiring. About halfway through the tour, the very late night started catching up with me, and my voice was cracking. So we agreed that I'd have my own room for a couple of nights. We played a town, and the promoter was putting us up for the night. I was staying in the annex at the bottom of the garden that had a bed in it and a bathroom. It was fine. We got back to the place about 4 a.m. and I was knackered, so went straight to sleep. I was awoken an hour later to hear the shower running full blast and the bathroom light on. I got up and turned it off. About an hour later, the same thing happened. Then again, about 7 a.m. This time I just stood there and waited to see if the shower turned off. But it didn't. Anyway, when we were all up, I told the promoter what had happened, and he said, you met La Abilita. She likes to visit. Turns out I'd stayed in the granny annex, and Abilita was the grandma who had occupied it some years earlier. There's probably a logical explanation, maybe dodgy plumbing and lighting, but it still freaked out a very frazzled me.
A ghost who's very keen on hygiene, maybe.
Cleanliness matters.
So my next story is from Tamsin, aka Vice Vera, who I did a gig with last week, and she's absolutely amazing. You should check her out. And she says, when I was in my mid-teens, lying in my childhood bedroom, I turned off the TV to go to sleep. Sometime later, I looked at a mirror on the bedroom door alongside the bed and could see the reflection of the television, which was showing a boxing match. My eyes were fully open, and I glanced to the real TV, not in the reflection, which was definitely blank. Back and forth my eyes went, trying to make sense of the impossible scenario. I realised that I was paralysed and couldn't move my body. Somehow I felt the mattress come out from under me and come down on top of me. The mattress was in two places at once, and I was sandwiched between the two, trapped. It took all my willpower to sit upright, and the spell was broken.
Ooh,
Rather you than me, Tamsin.
That does sound terrifying.
Yeah.
Our next story is from lovely musician Alan Price. I've had a very long and undistinguished career as an amateur guitarist playing in a covers band and latterly a songwriter. In my 60 years there have been many moments playing with other musicians which I have felt that a very special magic when all elements combine to make a perfect sound, a special fusion of all the parts. But whilst that has its own deeply spiritual resonance, it is in no way spooky. I can only recall one incident, and in all those years which I would describe as otherworldly. I played for over 40 years in a band with a dear friend who sadly passed away after a short battle with cancer, leaving us all shocked and stunned. He was by trade an electrician, but also a very keen amateur golfer. We played many times together, sharing hilarious days losing balls and swearing our way around 18 holes. About a year after his death, his home golf club asked if the band would go and play at a charity function in his name. We agreed, though we knew it would be difficult and emotional, and we were all very nervous. After setting up for the evening, we went into the bar to raise a glass and view a lovely wall of photographs of the club and displayed our old friend. There were photographs of him playing with the band, playing golf, and inevitably of him proudly installing new wiring in the clubhouse, which he had done free of charge. The moment came for us to start the gig. We took to the stage, plugged in, and after a little touching dedication to our friend, we struck the first chords of our opening number. All the lights went out and the power went off. "Is there an electrician in the house?" shouted a voice from the darkness. Go figure.
Ooh.
A sign.
Ooh, I got
A sign.
a little shiver then on that one actually. And my third and final story has been sent courtesy of Mikey from the parish in Huddersfield, great venue, and he said Mikey runs his own Gigs and Ghosts podcast, which is well worth checking out. And he said this is sent to him by his friend Henry. So Henry says, when I was about 11, I awoke in the middle of the night needing to go for a wee. It was at my dad's house, which is a big house with a long corridor running across the length of the house. My bedroom was at one end, the bathroom about 2/3 down, and the other end was a linen cupboard. I was sort of half asleep, but walking to the bathroom, I noticed a figure stood by the linen closet facing away from me. I froze, and it was a woman. She turned to me. She was elderly, wearing 1920s clothes. She put a finger to her lips, as in to say, keep quiet, and smiled at me warmly. I ran back to my room and jumped into bed. I was half scared and half not. I got a great sense of love and warmth from her in that moment. I spoke to my dad about it in the morning, and he went off, returning with a box of photos. He pulled out a sepia photo I'd never seen before of a man and a woman and asked me if this was her. It was the exact same woman. The lady in the photo, as it transpired, was my great-grandma.
Oh my God. She came to say hello.
Yeah. And be quiet.
Wow. Shh. But that's it for our scary stories and our Halloween special mini-sode. And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Have a good one. Bye.